Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Shahin, Monjezi, your favorite manifester. And today I want to share with you guys a manifestation success story about how I essentially quit my job and toured the country, the entire USA with my band Genghis Pierre for 4 months without having booked any shows beforehand. And we did this all through using manifestation techniques. So yeah, in this video, I want to share with you guys sort of like the manifestation technique that I used at the beginning before the tour and really provide some context with where I was in life leading up to this point. I want to share with you guys what happened during the tour just briefly. I can't get into everything in this video. And then I want to give you guys some main takeaways that you can use to apply in your life so that you can grow and you can manifest, your own amazing life and do whatever it is that you want to do. Just to give you guys like some background about my musical career, I'll go into it very briefly. I played in my first band when I was a senior in high school. I started it with my friend Royce. I played guitar, he played drums. We called it Two Cats. And we would play at our high school during lunchtime at coffee houses, at like festivals that the school was putting on. We'd play house shows and parties around that time in our senior year. So like that's really the time of my life when I developed this love for writing music. Fast forward into college, Royce, me, his brother Kevin, and a couple other friends, we started a band called Flaming Dingoes. Flaming Dingoes turns into Fusion Flow. And we basically we don't take that band like full-time serious, but we perform around LA for like 5 years, right? And essentially, we start to have some creative differences in that band around circa 2019-ish. And I start a creative project with the guitarist in that band, Kevin, called Genghis Pierre. And this was not supposed to be a music project. This was supposed to be like a YouTube video comedy series where we just needed to like express ourselves creatively through comedy and video. But because we were such musical people, we start making music and we end up creating an album called The Creators, and we released that in 2021. We recorded it during the pandemic. Simultaneously at the same time, Fusion Flow, the band that we were both in, starts to, things start to get a little better, and we say, hey, let's record an album so that we kind of solidify all the songs that we've written. So we finally create and write an album. We call that album Paradigm Shift. That was recorded during the pandemic as well. So coming out of the pandemic, I have 2 albums, the Creators and Paradigm Shift, and I developed this love for recording music. Now developed this love for writing music, performing. Unfortunately, at some point, every member in the band Fusion Flow kind of realizes like we're not really expressing ourselves fully to our fullest capabilities. At least that was my take on it. I can't speak for anyone else in the band, but at least my take was like I don't feel like I'm expressing myself to the fullest potential in this group, in this project. So that band dismembers, and now I kind of have this musical void of performing in my life. So Kevin and I, we decide let's just make Genghis Pierre like a cover band, but we kind of play our originals, and let's just go play around LA so we can make some money from our music because this is what we love to do. And we decide that we need to start networking with other musicians and people like that. So we go to an open mic in Long Beach called Sweet Sounds, and we love that open mic, and we start performing there once a month. And we meet a guy named Andres, and he is now the 3rd member of Genghis Pierre. And we just develop our love for creativity and performing even more, and we just take every open mic performance to the next level. Simultaneously, we're playing gigs, we're playing shows around LA and the South Bay, and we're just having so much fun doing this. This leads to us getting a paid residency at a nonprofit in San Pedro, and so we're actually getting paid to play our music on a regular basis. We're not by any means making full-time income or anywhere close to that from our music, but we're like, this is really cool. I love playing music. I love performing. So at the same time, at some point during this is like circa 2022, me and my friends, we decided to start hosting parties called the Magic Treehouse parties. And these are parties that are taking place in Venice Beach in my friend Aryan's backyard. And we do these parties once a month, and we start inviting artists that we've networked with to showcase their music. So these events are wildly successful, they're intimate, they're beautiful, and we start building this very strong community of talented and creative people, and really just provide this space for people to come and connect. And that's really, I think, where we identified all of our values for community, like the importance of community and how important it is for people to like come and meet together and like congregate and share their ideas and just have a space where they can be free and they can express themselves. And to this day, and like now, I realize like the country, the nation, the world would be a lot better if we have these communities meeting up on a regular basis. This has really become like a life mission of mine now, is just like to build communities, and have spaces where people can come together. This is all happening, and Kevin and I, we're having the time of our lives, but at the same time, we're working jobs that we're not really too passionate about. And we realize like we pretty much maxed out everything that we can do in terms of time-wise, between playing these shows for this nonprofit and being a part of that community, hosting our own events in Venice Beach with these Magic Treehouse parties, and just performing around LA like on the weekends and trying to get practice in whenever we can outside of our full-time jobs. We pretty much maxed out what we can do. At one point, Kevin and I are sitting in our apartment. This was around like the end of 2022. And we're like, if this is what we really want to do, which is to write music, perform it, and then build communities around the music and provide spaces for people to come together and just share love, share community, share ideas, and heal the world, then we're going to have to take a drastic action to take this to the next level. And that's essentially the night we decide that we're going to quit our jobs, give up our apartment, tour the country, playing our music in multiple states, and just develop our skills of becoming someone in the music industry, which is, the modern day musician needs to be able to network and make connections and market and promote themselves and just do all these things. And we realized like we need to learn these skills and we need to put ourselves out there and go all in if we really want to make this work. So that night, we decided we're going to go on a 4-month tour across the US. Obviously, after making a decision like that, you start to have these thoughts that are really just scarcity thoughts that have been indoctrinated within all of us, because there is clearly a script that's laid out for all of us, growing up in modern society. And, that generally that script is go to school, get a job that has good, benefits, contribute to your 401k or your retirement account, work this safe and steady job for 30 or 40 years, and then retire at 65 and hopefully have enough money to survive for the next 10 to 15 years for however long you stay alive. Obviously, whenever you do something that is outside of that script, you start to have thoughts of scarcity and doubt. And that's sort of what we kind of began to experience. You have this fear of like, oh man, I'm quitting my job now. I could become homeless. I could starve to death. Then also you start to care about what other people might think of you. Like, man, we don't even have any shows booked. Like, what if we're not even able to book a show on this tour? Like, we basically gave up our lives, our apartment, like everything, our jobs, and for nothing, essentially. Like, that was like a major fear. But thankfully, I know about manifestation. So I can actually just manifest that this works. I knew that if I wanted this to work successfully, I'd have to visualize myself in the end. So I had to identify what was the desired end I wanted from this tour. And I knew that one of the things I wanted to achieve was to develop the skills to be able to put myself out there, to socialize, to network, to make connections, to be able to book shows, because I realized this is a very important skill to have as an artist in the modern day. Number two, I wanted to do more to share the music that I'd created. I'd worked so hard on creating. I wanted to do more to share that music with people all over America. For so long, I'd been in this California bubble in Los Angeles and San Diego, and that's like all I really knew of this country. And I wanted to embark on this adventure of knowing this country and seeing what's out there outside of Los Angeles. And so I wanted to explore the country and play my music for people all over the country and share my music with others. Another thing I wanted was to become a part of communities across the country and help build and strengthen those communities through my music. And finally, on top of all of it, it was just like, I just want to have amazing experiences in life. I want to have amazing stories that I can tell and share with my kids, and, have my kids tell those stories to their grandkids. I just want to have a rich, interesting, and enriching life. So this was pretty much all the reasons why I wanted to go on tour, and this is really what I wanted to manifest. So I went into my mind's eye, and I started to visualize myself driving back into Los Angeles after this tour, and I would sort of capture the feeling of me driving back into Los Angeles, that feeling of, okay, we're returning back home, but I have grown as a person and I've developed new skills, and I successfully booked shows on this tour, and I successfully played shows on this tour, and I successfully gained followers in different states across this country. I've successfully made lifelong and meaningful connections on this tour. And now I do have all these amazing stories that I can share with people back home. So I would just imagine myself coming back into Los Angeles and capturing this feeling of like, I did it. This tour was successful. I did it. I grew. I developed. I have amazing experiences and stories. I made lifelong connections. Like, I did it. And once I sort of went to sleep a few nights in a row capturing this feeling, I knew that I was in safe hands. I knew that I was good. So I want to share with you guys the summary of what actually happened on this tour. I cannot get into everything in this video. I will make subsequent videos about specific stories that happened. I'll give you guys a brief summary of what happened. So we actually did book shows successfully, and we played many shows. We booked shows in Colorado, Nebraska, Maine, Maryland, Oklahoma. We street performed in states such as New Hampshire and Tennessee, and we did this all for financial compensation. So we really did develop this skill to be able to book shows and make money from our music. On top of that, we did gain lifelong followers and made very meaningful connections in every state that we played in. Another thing that was amazing that happened is we manifested getting into Lollapalooza, which is this really big music festival that takes place every year in Chicago. We manifested getting into that festival for free, all legitimately, and that's a whole nother story. I'll make a video about that. But that was amazing, and we got to see some of our favorite artists, such as Kendrick Lamar, Odessa, and Red Hot Chili Peppers. And one of my biggest influences on the guitar is John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We manifested seeing Trey Anastasio, the lead singer and guitarist from the band Fish, and this was something that we wanted to do. We wanted to see Fish from the beginning of this tour, but when we looked at their tour schedule, we realized we wouldn't be able to see them. This was something that, I really wanted to do, and it turns out that he was playing with his own band, not with Fish, but with his own band in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, while we happened to be there. And we manifested buying the last 3 tickets of the event. We literally went to the box office and asked them, how many tickets do you have left? And they said, we have 3 tickets left. So that was a crazy story in itself, and I'll probably make another video about that. We ended up working a music festival in Maryland called Ocean's Calling. We worked as barbacks and bartenders, and we ended up making so much money to the point where we almost broke even for this tour. We didn't quite break even. We were still in the negative by the time we got back to LA, but it got us pretty dang close to breaking even. So we got to travel the country for 4 months, develop all these skills, make all these connections, gain followers, and not have to pay that much money from our own pocket. And we were all very stoked about that. On top of that, we got to see many artists that we admired at that festival for free. Artists such as Jack Johnson, John Mayer, Third Eye Blind, Incubus, Weezer. So we were really stoked about that as well. Now, obviously, there's just so much that happened on this tour. We made it across the country to our furthest northeast destination, which was Portland, Maine. And then we made it to our furthest southeast destination, which was Nashville, Tennessee. And then we drove back to LA. As I was driving back into LA, I remember having that same experience that I had in my mind's eye before the tour. And I was like, wow, I did it. We have all these amazing stories, experiences. We made these lifelong connections with people all over the country. We performed our music for people all over the country. I could honestly, genuinely say, driving back into LA after this tour, that I have grown as an individual and as a person. I've become more clear on what my values are in life. I have amazing stories that I can tell and share with my friends and my family for the rest of my life. And really, I think I proved to myself even more that anything is possible and I can do whatever I want to do in my life. What I want you guys to take away as the viewers is like, realize I'm not better, or I have like possess some sort of special ability to manifest that you do not possess. You have the same exact ability and power to manifest your dream life. And since I found out about manifesting, which was at some point in college, I watched the movie The Secret and learned about the law of attraction. And then I found Neville Goddard. For those of you who don't know who Neville Goddard is, he's a American mystic, speaker, and author. And he wrote a bunch of books on manifesting, and there's a bunch of his lectures online about manifesting. And at the end of all of his lectures, he would say something, and I'm just paraphrasing here. He would say, before you go to bed tonight, imagine yourself being the person that you want to be. Really put yourself in the position of being the person that you want to be in your mind's eye. Feel that you were that person. And if you can capture the feeling of being the person that you want to be, it is the law that that reality has to manifest and become real in this physical reality. So all I've been doing personally myself this entire time is just testing out what he says. The first time I did it successfully was when I was in college and I wanted to study abroad and live in a foreign country. So I imagined myself being in New Zealand after a semester studying abroad. And I captured the feeling of that being real, and then it happened. I actually found myself standing in New Zealand in physical reality a few months later. So I was like, this is real, you know? And I think ever since that point, I've just been on this journey of like learning about manifesting, because I think one of the main things that you have to be clear about is what you value, and manifesting things that are in alignment with your values. And since then, I've manifested jobs, I've manifested running marathons, I've manifested, putting together and playing successful shows with different bands. I've manifested creating albums. I manifested this tour of touring America. And now moving forward, I'm just like, I can do anything that I want to do. And now I'm in the process of building a bigger vision, a 10-year vision for myself and where I see myself and who I want to be. So this process of sort of building your vision is just you're always refining it. And that's what I've kind of learned. My advice for you guys as the viewers is like, become clear on what you value. What are your values in life? That's really the starting point for anything that you want to manifest. And like, for example, a few of my values are creativity, freedom, right? Freedom, I don't want to have to work for anyone else. I want to be my own boss. I want to be able to work on the things that I want to work on. Authenticity, I want to keep things real. Like if I make a video like this, I just want to keep it real. I don't want to have to like be someone who I'm not. Adventure, I've always been someone who is curious about other cultures and other places. Like I want to be able to venture into other places and learn about cultures and experience what this world has to offer. Community, obviously I spoke about that a lot in this video, but I value building communities and being a part of communities. So obviously there's many more values that I have for myself, but I think it's really important for you to identify what it is in life that you value. And then I think once you know or become clear about what you value in life, from there you should ask yourself, where do I want to be in 10 years? Where do I see myself in 10 years? What's my big compelling vision 10 years from now, based off the values that I've identified for myself? And from there, then you can test what Neville Goddard said, which is imagine yourself being that person before you drift off to sleep, and imagine that until you really feel that you are that person, and then drift off to sleep. And if you can do that, then it's the law. You will inevitably experience that reality in your physical world. And I think once you sort of go through that process, from there, it's just about being grateful every day for what you do already have, taking actions that lead to your growth and push you closer towards that end vision, and just continuing to learn about yourself and what you value and what you like, and learning how to hone in on your own creative power and master your own mind, and to master how you feel in your own emotional state. So that's basically everything I have to say for this video. If you enjoyed what I talked about in this video, go ahead, like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are not currently subscribed. Hit the bell notification, which will give you, will basically notify you every time I release a new video. And feel free to share this video with someone who might gain value from watching it. And if you're interested in potentially working with me to implement these manifestation principles and techniques into your life, feel free to send me an email. I'll leave that in the description. And we'll go deep on exactly what you want to do in your life, what you want to manifest, what your values are. We'll work on implementing these principles and techniques into your life, and I'll be your accountability sort of manifestation partner. And if you're not interested in that, please continue just watching my videos and gaining as much insight that you can from the videos that I release. And I genuinely hope that you continue to gain value from following my journey as growing as an individual and as a person. So with that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.